harlots. Babylon the grid that dwell in so many waters, with the nations fornicate. Abundance of riches, riding the scarlet color, 10 horn, 7-headed beast. No porno picture. See, I dwell in the southern region of this God-forsaken representation of abominations and whores. And if you love the like I love the, and you trust the like I trust the, and you're in about to blow, what would you pull out for?
Out of Babylon, 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 out of Babylon.
So you don't know how you gon' leave. So you tell people to stay here? Oh, so you scared to go overseas? So you say we gon' float in the air? You less Christian than a Christian, cause even a Christian walks around here with faith. I heard about you people ready in Josephus, so how can I follow? Oh, you have no faith?
Can't do it.
I buy cribs like I won't live in it. Buy cars like I won't be driving it. Live on this earth like a pilgrim. Search out the book and the doctrines inside of it. You best to know who you following. Your own salvation, best work it out. For you blind with the blind in a ditch, and you see cause it's too late and you screaming out.
Out of Babylon, 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 out of Babylon.
Thus say a higher, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of thee, and destroy it with, and in their heart I will make them feast and make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep and not awaken. And who shall deliver them? Set up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet through the nation, declare the nations against him. Her time has come to an end. My people, flee from the midst of her, deliver every man his soul. From the midst anger up a higher, never return again.
Out of Babylon, out of Babylon, out of Babylon, out of Babylon, out of Babylon.
Lord God, right there.
Out of Babylon, out of Babylon.
And I would choose to get water right when the sun go off. That's what I'm talking about. Timing. Welcome to the Hebrew state of being.
You're called to be a light.
That's right. Be the light. We are your humble servants and hosts for tonight. I am Kayel, and in the building, I got the young Hebrew and Esther in the building tonight. So we're gonna get it in. I see Ty's in the building. I see my brother Yawan is in the building. Chanel's in the building, man. So happy to see y'all in here tonight. I just want to make sure that this music doesn't start. Yes. All right. So it's been some time since we've been back in the saddle. I heard it couldn't help it.
For my people.
So tonight, man, welcome back to the Hebrew state of being. We have been on hiatus. Yes, we have for the last week. We have been moving. So you see, we have a new set behind us. I see my brother Adon is in the building. Yes. Anyway, so we are happy to be in our home. I would like to give my Esther a whole bunch of credit, but since she jumped up to try and get it herself, we're not going to do that tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to talk about the Most High. Yes, because that is first and foremost the reason for us breathing. That is first and foremost the reason that we are present in this moment and awake. I know it's late night, but I'm not talking about that awake that you get when you first thing in the morning, right? We're talking about that awake of the spirit. We're talking about that desire to seek the Most High's face. We've been, as I said, on the move for the last week, and this last year, it's a year and a half, for most of us has been very tumultuous. You know, most of us have had to deal with economics, dealing with family, many things that came out of this pandemic, right? In this last year and a half, as we know, it was March or February of 2020 when they started the shutdowns. Um, Before March 2020, we debuted our film in November of 19, the end of 19. And let me just tell you, since November of 19 until now has been an absolute whirlwind. For myself, I just want you guys to know, for myself, it has been an absolute whirlwind. And for the rest of the world, it kind of kicked in that March of 20, and now we're here in June, or rather July of 2021. In between that time, I've lived in 3 different locations in a year and a half, 3 to 4 locations. The Most High has moved me as a pilgrim, so to speak. If you read 2nd Esdras chapter 16, you'll know the reference of the pilgrim that I am speaking of. So this year of going from New Orleans to Texas, Texas back to New Orleans, it's taught me a lot of things. It's shown me more things. I wouldn't say taught me as much as it reaffirmed scripture for me. I say that as we've had this hiatus and coming back, and I don't want you guys to think that this coming back has just been from this week, but I want you guys to understand this is a phoenix coming back. This is a rise from, as my brother Ralph Smart says, from the seed that others thought they had buried. But when you bury a seed, what does it do? It grows. Ooh. Shouts out to my man Ralph Smart. You know what I mean? Many times you'll find in your life that you will think that life, situations, people are trying to bury you. If you understand that you are a genetic seed, a genetic code that is connected back to the Most High, just like Abel. You know, Cain and Abel. You know, when Abel was killed by Cain, his blood, his genetic code, his blood had a code to it. And when it hit the ground, it hit the earth said, oh, Most High, one of your people, one of the blood of one of yours is in the earth, has been slain unrighteously. The earth screamed out to the Most High. The blood of Abel screamed out to the Most High when he was slain by his brother. See, the brother Cain thought he was burying Abel, thought he was killing Abel, but he put Abel in the ground. But Abel had a genetic code, a pure genetic code. And that code, anything connected to this flesh, the blood, the bones, the spirit, the tongue, the brain, the DNA, the genetics, any part of this construct that the Most High has put together has a code connected to it, and anything that happens to it, it gets reported back to the Most High. Oh, you hear what I'm saying? Your trials, your stress, your thoughts, your dreams, your concepts, all of those things are heard by the Most High because of your genetic code. Because He coded you. He created that code. And He created that code to report back unto Him. So when the world goes to bury you through pandemics, government shutdowns, economic institutions failing, economic institutions denying you your funds, government entities of disability, of unemployment, of Social Security, of all these things that gave this cramp to you, that tried to cripple you, that tried to end you, that tried to bury you in this time, is only going to find that you are growing in this time. And when it's time to sprout, when it's time to bloom, when it's time to blossom. See, right now, y'all are seeing the stem. As I said, we are rising out. As I said, as this year and a half, this world that has tried to bury me, my queen, our family, our Yahudim. They didn't understand that in this time, we were growing and learning. We weren't just shut in these houses. We were seeking the Most High's face. We weren't just playing with our fingers. We weren't having finger games, right? We were actually leveling up spiritually, mentally, and physically, because in these trials and tribulations, we had to go to the source to make it through. We had to believe, not believe because of a book and some words, not believe because of some preaching, some pastor, not believe because you're afraid of the unknown, not believing because you just can't explain it, but believing because you have been proven, because you have tried the Most High in His commandments and saw Him give you the barakas, the return, the blessings in your life, to know that what you have been doing, nobody else told you to do. When you decided to walk on Him, He showed you the rewards for it. That's the belief that the little sprouts of weeds or plants that are shooting up out of the dirt right now, those sprouts that are coming out of the Most High's garden, that others thought they could bury His seeds, His genetic code into His own garden, and think that we would not grow, that we would not expand, that we would not get a closer bond unto our Creator. Even in the midst of going through our trials and tribulations, even in the midst of fighting our own flesh, we're still leveling up. We're still getting a tighter, more tight-knit relationship and bond with our Creator. See, every trial and tribulation I go through, I give it and I drop it on His doorstep, and He pulls me out of it. That's how I know. That's why I ain't got no belief in no fairy tale. I know what I put out, and I know what I get in return. Tonight, this return, we are going to go into Hosea chapter 4, chapter 5. We're going to play a couple of videos, and we're going to, we're going to ease back in, right? Normally we do a 2 to 3 hour show. Obviously, we started almost at 11 o'clock. We had technical difficulty. I hadn't cut on the computer in a week. Hadn't done any of this setup in a week. So things had to be recalibrated and started over and rebooted, so to speak. They had to rise up again, right? So a lot has happened in this week and a half, or week that we've been gone. Par for the course, meaning more of the same, so to speak, but ramping up every time. We have gone through our first tropical depression, meaning that the earth is in its travail. We're out of our order. We're out of our seasons. We had a heat wave that hit, that is setting way for the fires of the West Coast to be even worse this year. We've had volcanoes and earthquakes in diverse places. We've had animals dying. We've had reports from our government of them stating they have no idea what is flying around them up in the atmosphere. They have no idea of what is flying around them in the atmosphere. Boy, look at him rhyming on this Shabbat. Anyway, so all these things has happened in this time that we've been away. So none of these things are new. If we had been going for the rest of the week and had not been away, we would have talked about these are all part of the prophecies. These are all prophecies that are coming to fruition. Where we're going to take it tonight is that we're going to understand. See in the building, Alana, where we're going to take it tonight is a deeper. We're going to go not a long night, but a deep night. See, there's a thing in the earthquakes where they have shallow earthquakes and they have deep earthquakes. Shallow earthquakes are the ones that we all feel. No matter how great it is, a 6 or 7 or 8, if we feel it on the top soil, it's just a regular earthquake. A deep earthquake is sometimes not felt or heard to everyone, but it happens deep underneath the ground, breaking the crust, breaking the mantle, allowing for the lava to heat up the earth surface and for volcanoes to shoot. So tonight we're going to have a deep earthquake. It's not going to be a long one. It's going to be a deep one, and something I pray as Shabbat is happening, you ponder about, you think about, you pontificate about, because it's deep and it deserves thought. It deserves your meditation. So genealogy, the seed, the code. So genealogy is the code of your DNA. Your DNA is your seed, you as the seed. The entire DNA is a code that come together to create your chromosomes, to create whom you are. So your genome is your code for your body. You understand that, Logan? My young Hebrew. So your genetics, when they say your genetics, they're talking about your genes. They're talking about the code of your body. What does the code do, Logan? Do you know what the codes do? What a gene code? It decides. You asked me a question earlier today. He said, Logan, young Hebrew said, how is it that both of my daddies, right, are light skinned and both of my moms are light skinned, but yet I'm dark skinned? I said, great question, Logan, right? So that's your genes. And what I explained to him was that the genes, the code of your family, right, of your mother and your father that came together to have you, that code that's in them came from their parents and from their great grandparents. So your grandfather on your mother's side is the same hue as you, same color, same hue. On your dad's side, you have your father, your grandfather, or cousins that have the same hue as you. So when your mother and father comes together and all those genes, all those codes come together, they connect. And the ones that are like each other, they connect. So if there were nothing but light hued people in both of my young Hebrews' mother and father side, then undoubtedly he would have come with a connecting light hue. But because their genomes or their code had more than just light skin in it, it had dark skin, it had amber in it, it had this and it had that. So when those two codes came together, in order for them to make Logan, those two codes found the two light codes that read each other. And the dark code in both of the mother and father genome said, okay, yeah, I got a dark skin in his gene. Oh, you got a dark skin? Okay, we're going to connect that dark skin and boom. So that's going to be his color. So everything in his mother's gene, in her code, that matched on the daddy's code is what brings forth the child. And if those don't have matching, then it becomes an amalgamation of the codes and a child, and the production of that child comes. So, yeah, that's what you say. Mhm. Yes. It's possible, but my grandfather is darker than you. So it can be that that code, my grandfather's code, could connect with her code. Now, the other side of it is your mother is Indian, Aborigine like me. So on her side, she has Blackfoot and Blackfoot, I forgot the other one. And on my side, I have Sioux and Cherokee. So those genomes would connect and we will possibly have a child that look more aboriginal to North America because we both have those aboriginal genes. And that's how the coding works. All right. Now, that's something that you should really think about in reference to the grand design and plan of the Most High when he speaks about his seed and his seed seeking him. He's talking about the ones that have his genetic code, the ones that are hardwired to seek his face. I'm introduce this term to you guys, hardwired. Hardwired mean that your genetic code is so strong that you can't do anything but it. Like you see it every Mardi Gras, you see it every Super Sunday. You see gentlemen in the city of New Orleans with feathers on. They have a genetic code. They are locked in to want to have feathers. My rib, Esther, loves art. Somewhere in her, she's hardwired to want to do art. She's not happy if she doesn't have an opportunity to do art. If she's not being creative, it makes her uncomfortable. It makes her angry. Just like me, certain things make me angry. So everybody has a hardwired thing that either makes them happy or makes them sad or makes them mad. It is something that's hardwired. Now, of course, through your life experiences, you can add some and you can refine the ones that you have, but you have a genetic code that says, I understand right from wrong. When you're born, we went through conscience, right? We read the definition of conscience that it is a hardwired in your code to understand right from wrong when you're born, whether you go to a church or not, whether you meet a preacher or not. You are hardwired to know right from wrong. So the Most High has hardwired his people to seek his face. When all else fails, before death comes, we are trying to get right with the thing that we have never seen before, but we just know exists. We don't believe it exists. We know it exists. Because when it's a life or death situation, when you're looking down the barrel of that gun, when you're looking down a terminal illness, when you're looking down the possibility of danger and not being sure if you're going to be able to come back from it, the fear of the unknown, at that moment, you don't guess if there's a Most High. You don't debate, is there really a God? Is he black or he white? You could care less what it is, as long as it saves you. See, that's the life or death thing. That's what we're going to get into tonight. I want you to understand what you are hardwired to do. Why, Alana, you still came on tonight after the show being gone for a week? Why, Chanel, you were on tonight? Why, my brother Adam? Why, Ty? Why we are hardwired to want to seek salvation or righteousness? That's right. You got that code in you. You got the Most High's code. Now, a lot of people going to look like you. Your color, not your color. They're going to have eyes like you. They're going to have noses. They're going to have beards, no beard. They're going to be have hair, but be bald. They're going to be long hair. They're going to have weaves. They're going to look like you, but they won't have your genetic code. Y'all better, man. Oh, I hope y'all feeling me, man. You gotta understand something. Just because it looks like you, because it breathes like you, because it talks like you, doesn't mean it's got the same genetic code as you. Doesn't mean that they're hardwired to love the Most High like you do. Doesn't mean. They'll talk a good game. They'll spit it quick, fast, in a hurry. Jeez. Lord, Allah, the most honorable, all that jibber jab, all them honorabilities, all them flim-flamming words, all of those highfalutin words, all of those, what they call them, complimentary words, what everybody want to be stoked. You know what I'm saying? What they call them words? when they get on the pulpit and they say, well, we got pastor, great pastor, the fire and brimstone pastor, the pastor that knows could be called an apostle if you walk with Jesus. All them titles that people want to create. All of those wanting to be somebody when you are somebody. The reason why the Most High says seek his face, and the reason why he makes you hardwired, so you can understand that you are somebody, not that you're seeking to be somebody, not that you're seeking to be righteousness, but you're actually righteous, that you were hardwired to be this. And if you are not being righteous, then you have just stepped away. You have just backslid. You have just lost your way for a moment, but get back to your hard wiring. I offer that to us that's going through this year of being buried, losing our cool, losing our tongue, losing our hands in some cases, physically doing things, making bad decisions, forgetting who the Most High was, forgetting that you are a child of the Most High. We ask for the Most High to forgive us for forgetting what we know, what we're hardwired to understand. Because, as I stated in this weekend that's passed, nothing has changed with the pestilence and the diseases. They're only ramping up. The natural disasters are only ramping up. Doom and danger is only ramping up. You need to understand your code so that you know that this isn't for you. We read on the last time that we were together, 2nd Esdras chapter 16, and the brother Adam was reading for us. And it made it clear on whom they were talking to. We read Revelations, and when they spoke to the 7 churches, we clearly understand that we're not part of a church, so it's not speaking to us, it's speaking to Gentiles, but we are the seed of Jacob. So we understand that who is being spoken to when these dangers, these calamities, this fall of Babylon happens. Let's watch this video. And you guys are going to think it's a little off, right? Oh, thank you, baby. I'm going to do the shofar after the video before I go to read the scriptures. Thank you, my love. Now, this video I'm about to play for you guys is going to be about 5 to 7 minutes, right? I'm going to play up this video. Now, for my ladies out there, I don't want you to disappear on me in this video. This video is about dogs. Yeah, it's about dogs. It's about breeding of dogs. Now, I'm a pit bull enthusiast. Anybody that knows me knows I love my pit bulls because they're a special breed. They're set apart. Not always in a good thing. What'd you say, Logan? He likes the Yorkies. He's 8. It's okay. He'll grow out of it. Especially around me. He's gonna learn to like some dogs. But so I'm a pit bull enthusiast. My brothers, we grew up, we study it. We understand it from a breeding perspective, as most people may look at a dog and they will see that canine, and they will think of it as it looks cute, like the what kind you like, Logan? The Yorkies. I like the teacup Yorkies. The teacup terriers. They're beautiful, right? But you look at them, you just think they're pretty. Most people look at the dog and they only see the outer appearance of the dog, and not realizing that each dog has its own genetic code. That each dog is predestined or prepositioned to be the way it is. Small dogs like terriers bark a lot, right? The bigger dogs don't bark as much. The smaller dogs, they like to attack. Bigger dogs, they choose who they attack. Right? So there's a genetic code between these dogs. And so as I expressed, and I went very long to explain us having the most highest genetic code. But I want you to understand that we have gone through three major. I was speaking with an elder the other day, and the brother said five, and I can go with five, but for right now, I can tell you three that I can name offhand right now, and that's the Reconquista, that is the Islamic, and that is the British, the English slave trades. So we've gone through three slave trades through our antiquity, and in those slave trades, they breeded us. Now, you're understanding that they took the Most High's creation and tried to breed a certain type of slave, a certain type of black, a certain type of Negro, a certain type of Negroid. These are facts. This is not anything that we're bringing up as conjecture. These are facts through the 800 years of the Moors dynasty, which was the Islamic slave trade, through the rise of the Latin, now Catholic Church. It was a slave trade. Yeah. And then the English, the last ones to get upon it, was your transatlantic slave trade from the 1600s. So us, we are the result of three different slave trades, and the lastly being the transatlantic. Now we know in the transatlantic slave trade that we were bred. We were bred right there in South Africa. We call Negro land, or the Gold Coast, or the Slave Coast, or Wayuta, or Benin, Dahomey, the Niagara River, Nigeria. We're talking about that area right there. We know that the Portuguese from the 1200s to the 1400s was made that a penal and breeding camp for all their slaves. For 300 years, before the 1400s of Christopher Columbus, they bred us as slaves. Then the English came along, and Christopher Columbo Dumbo came along in 1492, Dumbo. And yeah, Columbus was a dummy. He was an absolute idiot. So, and a colonist, they named it after him. Columbus, colonist, get it. So anyway, as Dum comes in 1492, you've already had the 800 years of the Moors, and then you had 300 to 400 years of the Portuguese and the Latins, and then now you have from the 1400s to the 1600s, which is another 100 years. Then you have from the 1600s to the 1700s of breeding. Now, most people don't really know how to explain human breeding. And they don't really know how to explain the effects of us present day people and our thoughts and how we are hardwired and what we, put it like this real quick. The way the medical society sets up the diseases according to races, which is racist in the first place. But for blacks, you have high blood pressure, hypertension. Well, why is it only blacks get high blood pressure and hypertension? Why is it connected to us? Then, well, we look at SARS or LARS or whatever that is that Caucasians get with their skin, and they get the bumps and everything, and they lesions all on their arms. Well, that's for their lack of pigmentation and different things, right? So that's genes. That's genes. So what we've been bred to be, and what we are right now, they can't really tell you. They can only say the result of what we are and the diseases of us as these human beings are after this breeding, that we are susceptible to these things and we're susceptible to those things. Pork, thank you, Chanel. The pork and these different things, right, that's now changed our DNA. Remember, when the Europeans came to America, there were no diseases here. Oh, when the Europeans came, there were no diseases here. They brought smallpox, they brought the flu, they brought influenza, they brought all of that with them. So watch this video and understand us as human beings and put that in the dog's position. Let's go.
To a T mean to you?
Is an animal. It can be a human being, actually. Even faced with death, will not stop its effort, the effort to dominate the opponent.
Okay.
No matter, even in the face of death, will not stop in its effort to dominate its opponent. And I say it, I refer to dogs, but it can also be humans too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very rare in animals, very rare in animals. In fact, there's only, that I know of, only really 2 that have been bred, and we'll get into, this is a very important part. Gameness is a trait that has been bred into, and I think we talked about this a little bit, that has been by breed.
Now, I'll stop here because I want you to understand the question that was given to him was, the man asked him to give the definition of game. G-A-M-E, game. So this breeder of pit bulls, world-renowned breeder of pit bulls, Mr. Madison Parker of Bulletproof Kennels, this guy is world-renowned. I mean, he's been doing this for 30, 40 years. He's been breeding championship dogs. And the question is, what is the definition of a game pit bull? And his definition, he says, isn't just limited to the pit bulls that we're discussing. Because game means that you are willing, as he said, to want or desire, you're hardwired to dominate your opponent regardless of your care for your own life. Not that it will save somebody else, not that it wants to do it. It will dominate. It has a need to dominate. It's hardwired to dominate, but not all of them have this game capability. He's describing the ones that have it, and what does that mean to have it? And it means to be game is that you want or have, and you're hardwired with the desire to dominate your opponent even at the loss of your own life. You have no regard for your own life, but only to be dominant and to win and to oppress. Listen.
Eating only bred into the animal. And in this case, we're talking about dogs, because there's no other line of dogs that have been bred what I use the term, against nature.
Against nature.
Okay, so when you're talking about nature, it's like a lion in Africa or a leopard in South America or a wolf in Alaska. Those are the type 1 predators, okay?
Predators.
But they are not game. They will not stay in the face of death. They will not fight for the carcass that they might have spent their whole everything trying to kill a deer or whatever they've caught. And if, like, it's a lion in Africa and he's just gotten a wildebeest and he's down there laying on top of it eating it, and half a dozen hyenas come in on him He's running away. He's not going to fight. He's not, because if he, it's innate in his DNA.
Hardwired.
It's the survive, and it can't survive if it gets wounded. Because if the lion gets wounded, he can't hunt anymore. He can't catch. So then he's just going to die anyway. So they don't. No animal in the wild is game. There's no animal that's game in the wild.
That is game.
The only game animals that I know of are the fighting cocks, fighting roosters, and American Pit Bull Terriers.
All right. So we're going to pause here. Understand that this man, again, is a breeder. And he says that when you look at all of the world, all animals in the world, there isn't one animal that is game. Again, the definition of game is that you have the desire to dominate your opponent even at your own death, with no regard for your life. And it says that concept, that ideology is against nature. I really want y'all to be paying attention. I said we're going to go deep tonight. That ideology is against nature, to have no concern for the body that the Creator gave you, to don't care about your Creator, don't care about what you're doing with its property, don't care about it for your own personal perspective, but just enough evil, enough hate, enough anger to want to oppress and dominate your opponent. Let's go a little bit more.
And they are only gay because they've been bred to be that way. So they've been bred against nature.
Against nature.
If you understand what I just said.
Yeah.
By selectively weeding out the dogs that will quit, you found one out of a litter, or you found three out of a litter, or you found none out of a litter. You continue to cull your herd, so to speak, until you get the ones that you know are the game ones. So having been bred against nature, they'll stay no matter what. They'll stay because you've looked at them, you've checked them, you've pushed them. See, game.
All right. You want to take this concept into slavery, because that is what the world told us was our lineage. It told us our history started with slavery. They refused to allow any truth to be told about who we were before Dumbo Columbo came through. Before Dumbo Columbo, nobody wanted to talk about who we were as a people. America started with Dumbo, and we don't need to talk about anything before America. Well, what this gentleman is explaining is that this game trait, this trait of being game, is one, against nature and against what the Most High has created. Two, no animal in the wild has, no matter how much of a predator he is. Three, and pit bulls and gamecocks are the only two that have been bred to have this mentality. Four, it's not a mentality that you're going to find in every litter. So you can get you one, mate it with another one that has the mentality of game, and the litter of that will not guarantee that all of those dogs would be game. In fact, this is such a rare trait because it's against nature, and nature keeps coming back and saying, no, you're going to be humanistic. No, you're going to be loving. No, you're going to love the body. You're going to love the creation that I created. You are hardwired to love yourself enough to not kill yourself to oppress another or to get your own way. See, some people kill other people by just enforcing their will on them and making them do it, without listening to anyone else, but just wanting their will. They'll destroy families, they'll destroy businesses, they'll destroy friendships, they'll destroy everything. Most people, or psychologists, call them narcissists. People that are hardwired to only be concerned about their well-being and nobody else's. That's the closest you're going to get to the concept or the mentality of game that you find in a dog. So in a human, the same dog mentality of game is very similarly seen in a narcissist. Because the narcissist is about them and them only. They will love others, play with others, act with others, but at the end of the day, it is about them, their shine, or whatever they're trying to get. Narcissists don't think narcissists are superstars that's on the stage. That's not always what. No, you got narcissists that are accountants that are quiet as I don't know what, but they stealing all the money. Everything is about them. They got the big house. It's all about their accomplishments. It ain't about nobody else. It's not about the tribe. It's not about the family. It's not about the team. So that's against nature. That's against the Most High. Dogs are born in a kennel, or they're born with, they're born multiple. They're born in a pack. They have a pack mentality. They are supposed to want to run with the pack and follow the leader and do as a tribe. As a matter of fact, every animal across the world is that way. From fish to birds to traveling hyenas, all of them, everything the Most High created has a pack mentality. It wants to be around people, wants to be around love. That's why in this pandemic, everybody was so-called going to start crazy because they couldn't be around humans. They couldn't touch people. Whoa. Then what is that digital thing doing? Isn't digital stopping us from touching each other? Isn't all of this new face mask and all the social distancing, all of this now dating online, now all these different things are being done so that we don't touch each other, so that we are going against human nature? So, as he stated, this gameness isn't in all of the pack. You have to isolate it, identify it, and breed it. So we as slaves were done the same thing. We were bred the same way. Whether you like it or not, even though he's talking about dogs, this happened to us in the slave trade that we went through. They made us, they bred us. When you hear all the stories of the slave master looking on the slave block and he's trying to choose which one he's going to buy, he's choosing one that he thinks is going to work good in his yard, so he's choosing one with the most muscles. If he's got a woman slave already and he's looking to breed, he's looking up there to see what characteristics, what code this slave look like he got, so I can put it with this other slave. It's the same thing as breeding with the dogs. Same thing. Alfred Buckley, all right, will do. So what you find is that in this breeding, it was the same way that was done to us slaves. But we have to ask our question, well, then what were they breeding us for? What did they put in us? What did they try to teach us? What did they try to mold us into? Well, sadly to say, the first thing that the slave master taught the slave was homosexuality. Yes. Believe it or not. See, when they brought the slaves in to the plantation, the first thing the master did on the plantation was take the biggest, strongest black man he could find, bent him over in front of everybody, took off his clothes, and then raped him in front of everybody else. So what do you think, what type of breeding were they doing? What type of breeding was the colonizers doing? I know a lot of y'all in love with your colonizers. This is America. You just celebrated your colonizers' Independence Day. You love your colonizer. You can't get enough of your colonizer. You keep on telling us how much all white people ain't colonizing. We gotta love our white people. You can't help yourself. You love doing it. It's okay. I'm not here to judge, but I'm here to present the facts. You love your Independence Day. You love supporting what was bred into you. See, you can't have your red, white, and blue stars and stripes and your Independence Day and your picnic without understanding Bronco busting, without understanding that the white slave master raped all of the black men and tried to make sure that they did not uprise. And then they took their wives in the middle of the night and then raped their wives. And after they raped their wives in the field the next day, if any one of those slaves had a problem, they just shipped the daddy off to another plantation. Or they just killed him. So what were they breeding? Because they were damn sure breeding something. They were trying to breed something to go against the nature of the Most High. They were breeding something that will go against the Most High. They were breeding a type of black, a type of nigger that would be docile and afraid when a white man came along, or anybody of authority, not just white, because you have to understand that it wasn't just whites that colonized America. You have to realize that there were many blacks that were part of the colonization. You have to wake up to the fact that the Moors were the first ones to come over here and cut deals and colonize the Americas. When they lost to Britain and the Latins came in and took over those same colonized places. You have to open your eyes to the truth of history. So when we understand that it was both black and white that were participated in slavery, because Islam did slavery for way longer than Europe did. Well, the Caucasian, because the Moors were in Europe. So that was slavery at that time as well. So your question, it becomes, what were those slavers creating? They were creating a breed that will go against its own creator out of fear of them, the same as a game dog does for its owner. See, the game dog forgets that it's part of the Most High's nature, and it has been bred to only want to die for its owner and its concept of winning, or its own concept of winning. They bred us to be in iniquity. They bred us to try and take our hardwired desire to be righteous and to be with the Most High, and replaced it with desires of our flesh and fear of the oppressor, the fear of authority. The desires of our flesh and the fear of authority replaced our warrior, our daughter of Zion, our freedom, our connection to our genetic code and its creator. Let's go to the shofar. Get some scripture here. Thank you, love. Stand for our shofar. Oh, praise it. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So as we are going to Hosea chapter 4, we're going to understand the Most High's issue with us. And this issue is because before we were bred to be the way that we are, we were stiff-necked then. One could even argue, as stiff-necked as we were back then, that none of the breeding had anything to do with the way we were stupid these days. That we were already like this before the oppressor came in. But I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna be from the position that we were good and we was tripping in, but this is totally outside of our understanding, the way that we think, feel, breathe, and analyze the things that happen to us on a day-to-day basis. Starting off with Hosea chapter 4, verse 1. And it says, "Hear the word of the Most High, ye children of Yasharal. For the Most High hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land." So the Most High says, I got an issue with y'all. I want you, Hosea. Now, Hosea was around the same time as Isaiah. So Isaiah was speaking to Judah, and Hosea was speaking to the northern kingdoms, the 10 tribes, right? So Hosea is being told by the Most High, they got a beef with Yasharal and go tell him. He says, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of the Most High in the land. So the Most High is taking issue with them for specific reasons. And I argue tonight that those specific reasons that is being listed here has been bred into us to this day, and that we are following and acting in the same way. Again, it says, the Most High hath controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, no knowledge of the Most High in the land. No truth. Everyone believes their truth is truth. Not understand that the only truth is the Most High's truth that has been written. No matter what the situation is, no matter what the order is, the only truth is the truth of the Most High, and that's righteous, doing the right thing. That is the truth. It's not our desires, it's not our wants, it's the law, right? No mercy. Everybody wants to extract their pint of blood when they're right. They can't, because the world is beating on you so much. Whenever you're right, you want everybody to know, or you want that person to beg, grovel, or do something to make you feel as though they understand your pain or where you're coming from. No mercy in this world. No knowledge of the Most High. Because if you had knowledge of the Most High, then you would have truth. And if you had the truth, then you know about the mercy He's given you. So therefore, you will give that mercy to others. You see how those work together? There's no truth because you don't know the Most High. That is the truth. His law, His statutes is the truth, the 10 Commandments. You have no mercy for your mankind because you're acting as mankind. Inhumane. Being bred to be colonizers, to have Stockholm Syndrome, to be in your oppressor's land and to love your oppressor. That is Stockholm Syndrome. It says, no truth or mercy because the knowledge of the Most High is not in the land. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood toucheth blood. The Most High does not like the mixing of bloods. The Most High does not want His genetic code wasted. So it says swearing, lying, killing, stealing, and committing adultery comes from no truth and no mercy and not knowing the Most High. When those attributes are the things that are in you, when you have been bred to have no truth, to not know the Most High, to have no mercy for the next man because no mercy has been shown to you as a slave, so you do unto others as you want done unto you, right? Isn't that the saying of the land? Verse 3, therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish, with the beast of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Shall be taken away. We're going to dip to a video. Let's go.
Well, biologists are baffled at what is killing birds across several states in the country, including Ohio.
Several birds across central Ohio, like this one, are dying for unknown reasons, an unknown disease.
New information this morning about the unexplained increase in sick and dying songbirds in multiple states.
Concern continues to grow about a mysterious illness affecting songbirds all across the Midwest. Conservation officials say the strange disease has not been detected
after reports of sick and dying songbirds. But it's not just happening there. Cases have been reported in Kentucky and Ohio as well.
You may have noticed, have you seen any birds around that have been dying? Wildlife officials say it's become a big problem. Mysterious deaths of birds all over, including right here in Pennsylvania and Delaware. So many of our counties, people are finding these dead birds in 27 different counties just in Pennsylvania.
An illness linked to a mysterious medical condition. Experts don't know if this can be passed to people or pets.
Information tonight on reports that songbirds in central Indiana are dying off because of a mysterious illness. Conservation officers tell us it's happening in other states too. And now we've heard similar reports coming from Ohio, Kentucky, even Washington, D.C. Wildlife officials say they can't really figure out what's going on.
But over the last few weeks, bird watchers have noticed something strange.
Eye crustiness, eye discharge, and swollenness in the eyes, as well as neurological symptoms.
There have been links to maybe pesticide or herbicide uses, or this could be a disease that we're not familiar with. You know, they have tested negative for avian influenza, they've tested negative for West Nile virus.
And he says if you find a dead songbird, best not to touch it. Right now, they just don't know if what's killing the birds can be passed on to humans.
Jin hopes they find answers soon.
Sad, really sad, you know. It's birds is nature.
All new tonight, birds across the region are dying from something. And as bird watchers grow concerned, 7 News reporter Stephanie Grindley met with the West Virginia DNR.
A mysterious illness is killing birds in Kentucky.
A mysterious illness in birds has now been reported here in central Kentucky. The Department of Fish and Wildlife is now asking people in Madison County to take down their feeders as they try to learn more about what's killing these animals.
It's devastating. It's potentially devastating.
The concern for bird lovers is growing.
Once I start hearing large numbers like that, it sounds like we have some sort of a credible epidemic on our hands, and people should take it seriously.
But now Kentucky Fish and Wildlife says this unknown illness has been reported in our area. The states reporting the illness have also recently expanded to include Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania.
If it's spreading as quickly as it is.
Virginia, Maryland, and the D.C. metro area started to see strange cases around the end of May. Berkeley and Jefferson County is where West Virginia is seeing birds keel over since the start of June. Swollen, crusty eyes, blindness, and head tilts, and one more thing.
And they've all been juvenile birds, which is interesting. And that kind of tracks with what other states are seeing.
Throughout all her years here at the Ohio Wildlife Center, Interim Executive Director Stormy Gibson says she's never seen a disease quite like this. Since the start of this month, the center has identified multiple cases of an unknown illness in songbird species across central Ohio, the symptoms of which include a white crust in birds' eyes, leading to blindness, as well as damage to their nervous system, leaving them unable to fly.
And eventually death. This blue jay was found in West Akron, but the cause of death is not known.
The disease has also been identified in several states, including Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, Indiana, and West Virginia. Now, there have been several theories that cicadas infected with pesticides may be causing these symptoms in birds, but biologists and wildlife experts say this is all merely speculation because the disease is popping up in states where cicadas aren't even present. Local for you in Columbus, I'm Jonathan Jackson, NBC4.
Health reporter Stephanie Stahl talked to one of the lead investigators about this troubling situation. Stephanie?
Well, Yuki, in the past 2 days, there have been 160 reports of dead songbirds in Pennsylvania. We want to let you know we have pictures of some of the dead birds that are being investigated. The dead and sick songbirds are all young with swollen, crusty eyes and have neurologic symptoms.
Some of them have head tremors where they're unable to stand. We were shocked.
Dr. Scott Weber, a wildlife expert at Penn Vet, says this is impacting many common backyard birds like blue jays. The mysterious bird illness first reported in Washington, D.C. has spread up the mid-Atlantic and into the Midwest. There are hundreds of reports.
The bird disease of unknown origin brings about a quick death, even if the infected bird were still alive by the time it comes to the center. Jordan says euthanasia would be their only option.
Well, it's hard. It really is. There's no hope for these guys. It is scary in a way because we went through this with West Nile virus back in the early 2000s. And that was a very frightening situation. And we had our freezers full of dead birds and no one knew what was going on.
The illness has been reported in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana.
So as we see, there was something that was said in this that needs to be highlighted, and that was that they found that most of the birds that were dying and infected were juveniles. That means it's a genome thing. That means that the older birds have something in there, a code or some disease or something that they've gotten that's altered them. It's all good, my brother Ed. I'm glad you're in the building. You came back. There's something that's altered their genome that the children, the birds that they had, their children that they gave birth to, have this defect and are dying. As we go back to the scripture. And it says, therefore shall the land mourn, and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish with the beast of the field and the fowls of heaven. That's the birds. Yea, the fish of the sea also shall be taken away. Now, the scientists just told you that they have no idea how this is happening or why this is happening. I explained genome before we got to this. They didn't say anything about it because they didn't go into any genetic testing. They don't want to tell you that. But in order for it to be in juveniles and them to give you that blurb, that means that it was passed through the birth. Now, some may say that the juvenile birds may have a lower immune system or weaker immune system, which may have made them susceptible to it. It's the same lie that they give you with the pandemic, that if you have underlying causes, then that may be a reason for you to get this disease and the reason why you should get the lollipop. Birds, animals, dogs, humans. The same process of getting diseases, of mating, of breeding, all the same. All creatures of the Most High. And the Most High said, in this hour, because we have been swearing, because we have been lying, stealing, committing adultery, because we don't know any truth, because we don't know mercy for anyone, and we don't have knowledge of Him, these things are being taken away from us. Verse 4, yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest. Therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night, and I will destroy thy mother. My people are destroyed Why? For a lack of knowledge. And what was that knowledge of, as it said in the first verse? Knowledge of the Most High. So why are the people dying? Why are, and please forgive me if someone is stating right now that I know someone that died that was in the church. I have a brother of mine that told me about half of a choir that was killed, that died via this pandemic. And my answer still is this. I don't care how much you're in the choir. I don't care if you're in the pulpit. I don't care if you're me. I don't care if I'm me talking to me about this. I don't care if it's the preacher's wife or my rib or deacon. That if you're only saying it and you're not living it, if you're only voicing it, if you're only a cheerleader, if you only have pom-poms, if you're not walking the walk, if you're not training, if you're not waking up every day cracking that egg like Rocky and swallowing it down and walking the walk, then you don't have a knowledge of him. You're not seeking him. You're hardwired, regardless of all of the breeding that they've done to us, you're hardwired to desire the Most High is still in you. He calls it the covenant. And it says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because they has rejected the knowledge. Not that they don't have it, not that it's not available, but they have rejected the knowledge. I will also reject thee, the Most High says. So when you have your friends that are so indignant, the ones that say that they love God and understand this and understand that, but in the next breath are so indignant about doing what they want to do, that means that they are rejecting him. As they're saying, I got love for him, as they're saying that that's their end all be all, the next breath, they are doing what thy wilt. They are doing as thy believes. They are doing what their heart desires. And when they do that, they are rejecting his knowledge. It says, I will also reject thee. So when they go through their trials and tribulations, then they want to say, oh, there's no God. You're right. He's down. He's gone. He's left. You're absolutely right. When you fall, he has left. You are absolutely right to make that statement. There's no God. There's no God for you in this moment. There's an absence. There's a void of the Creator for you. Just like the revelations is for the churches. It's not for me. It's for the Gentiles. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing that thou hast forgotten the law, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy Most High, of thy Creator, I will also forget thy children. As they were increased, talking about Yasharallah, talking about David and our Solomon and our temples. Father says, as they increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame. See, Solomon rose to the top, young Hebrew, just like you rising to the top, you standing up right there. Yeah, Solomon, he rose to the top. He was given the right to build the only temple that our Creator would reside in. Oh, he made it to the top. But what did Solomon do when he got to the top? He forgot about the Most High, Logan. He thought it was about him. He started dabbling into the dark arts. He started wanting to control demons. He didn't want the fact that he already had the Most High's ear. The Most High was doing for him that he had done for no one else. But Solomon, it was not enough for Solomon. Solomon had to go and get to the book of Enoch, not the seventh from Adam Enoch that we know. No, not the one that we just read. We're talking about Cain's son. See, when Cain had a baby, it was called Enoch. Yeah, man. And that dude created witchcraft. Yaman, Yaman, Yaman. And that is where all of the witchcraft come from. That's why you get so much confused about Enoch this, Enoch that. Two Enochs in antiquity. One was good, one was bad. It is what it is. So here it says, as they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame. And what happened to Solomon? Was Solomon's glory not turned to shame? They eat up the sin of my people, and they set their heart on their iniquity. And there shall be like people, like priests, and I will punish them for their ways. I will punish them for their ways and reward them their doings. Whoa, so he said, I'm going to punish their ways, but I'm going to reward your doings. What's the difference between ways and doing, my rib? I know, Esther, you concentrating on something else, but baby, do you know the difference between a way, right, and a doing? See, a way is your mentality. Doing is what you do. Get it? See, what it's saying here is that the Most High said, I hate your ways, the way that you think. But if you walk in the right way, I'll still bless you. Oh. Most High say, y'all can't think the way I think. So guess what? Even if you're trying to be as holy as you can be, you still can't ever match my mind of how pure the Most High is when he created us to be these beings. So the Most High says, your ways, I will punish your ways. I will punish the way you think about things. I will punish the way you concept things. I will punish the way you see the world. But if you walk in the right doings, I will reward you. For they shall eat, not have enough. Same thing Solomon did. Never gonna have enough. It says, for they shall eat and not have enough. They shall commit whoredom and shall not increase, because they have left off to take heed to the Most High. Because they have left off, that means they have stopped taking heed of the Most High. So it says that, and we know this as men, that we would go out on Friday nights in them old days, and we wake up Saturday, well, really Sunday morning, after we went out on Friday. Personally, I wake up on Sunday, and I'm like, wait, I didn't spend that much money. All my money gone. Yeah, I had some friends, I had some girls, I had some fun, but that's not as much money as I wanted to spend. This Monday morning is not fun. Most High says that you shall not increase. It says that you will go out on a Friday night, have a banging time, but need to go back Saturday night because you can't get enough. You will get that big house, but need more. Need a summer home. I need to make sure I got to buy a couple of houses for my kids. You know, I got things to do. I've got to continue to eat so that I can provide possibly for whatever that can possibly come down the pipe. Most High says, for they shall eat and not have enough. They shall commit whoredom and shall not increase. I don't know one man. And I'm telling you, boy, I know look, testimony. I kicked it with pimps. Hardcore pimps. The pimps don't never increase like you think. See, there's a ceiling that we have. There's a ceiling that was created by our oppressor. And no matter how high, no matter how you try to rise as being a melanated people, you can only get so far. And you can do that robbing and stealing. You can get that by selling drugs and prostitution, or you can get that by going to school, or you can get that by being an entrepreneur. But no matter what tributary, no matter what avenue you take, there's only a certain level that you can make it to. And please miss me with that Obama crap. There's only a certain level you can get to. because there's only a certain level you can get to. When you get to that level, before you can break that threshold, there's laws. There's a lot of laws to make sure that you stay here. And before you can break that threshold into more money, to that big money, you have to have some requirements. One, you can't have over $10,000 in a bank account without the FBI coming and knock on your door and asking you where you got the money from. You can have $9,999 in there, but as soon as you put that extra dollar for 10 grand, as soon as you hit that ceiling, they want to know how you make your money. Did you give them their cut of that money, and how long you've been doing it, and is it really? Can we get in it? That's how Uncle Sam sees it. That's pimping as well, by the way. But see, that's that ceiling. And no matter if you were pimping or you went to school for engineering, you ain't getting no more than the other one getting. And then it all seems to decrease or fall at the whim of that same government. If the government goes down, your stocks go down for you corporate and you Wall Streeters and you investors. So the government goes, so did you go. So you're like, is we sick, massa? Now the pimp and the entrepreneur on the side, they're trying to make some moves, but they can only make so many moves because once they get to a certain money threshold, they got to look like the other guys in order to go past that 10,000 threshold. I mean, you got to have the same bow and tie that they got on, or you got to have, I don't even want to go into that. But anyway, understand there's a ceiling. Understand the Most High is saying that the ones that take off from his heat, that does not listen to him, you're going to hit that glass ceiling, and your oppressor is going to then systematically strip everything from you, and you shall not increase. The Most High doesn't say that you're going to die. He said you're not going to increase. You're going to do all of these things, but you're only going to get to a certain level. Because they have left off from the heat of the Most High. It says 11, whoredom and wine and new wine take away their heart. My people ask counsel at their stocks, and their staff declare it unto them. Ooh, I just said the stocks, right? So it says, Most High said, now y'all, you take counsel in your money. You take counsel in what you're able to do. You take counsel in manly things. To decide if you're happy that day, to decide if everything's all right that day. You taking stock in that, and then you go to your staff and you declare it unto them, for the spirit of whoredom hath caused them to err. And they have gone a whoring from under the Most High. Now, only in America do y'all think whoredom has to do with a man and a woman or sexual things. Now, the Most High says whoredom is when you split your devotion. Most High said you can only, I created you can only be devoted to me. You devote yourself to money, you devote yourself to churches, you devote yourself to pastors, you devote yourself to preachers, you devote yourself to anything but me. It's called whoredom by definition. Since he feels as though since he created everything else, anything that you won't get with besides him is like another woman or another man. This is whoredom. And it says, thy sacrifice upon the tops of the mountains, and tops of the mountains, and burn incense upon the hills, under oak and poplars and elms, because the shadow thereof is good. Therefore your daughters shall commit whoredom, and your spouses shall commit adultery. So the Most High says, because you went to these, you're on mountains burning incense to these false gods, because you're not coming unto me, you know what I'm going to do? Your daughter going to be a hoe. Your son going to be a hoe. They're going to love everything but righteousness. Ooh, watch this. Now, y'all can act like this ain't y'all, like we ain't been born into the generation, but this is the Most High city. Now, you can say he a liar, but I ain't going to say that. And in 14, it says, and I will not punish your daughters. Oh, the Most High said, I'm going to call you what you are, but I got this grace and mercy for you. I got grace and mercy on tap. Father says, I will not punish your daughters when they commit whoredom, nor your spouses when they commit adultery. For themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. Therefore, the people that do it, not understand, shall fall. So now the Father says, anybody that don't understand my will, anybody that's sitting up here acting like you don't understand what I'm saying to you, anybody that want to go with the words and semantics, anybody that want to create new laws and statutes with 613 against his 10 commandments, any of you that want to just not have understanding, Most High say, you know what? I'm not going to hear and argue with you. I ain't going to be bickering with you. If you ain't got no understanding, you all fall. Period. Because my genetic code says you were born with it. You were born with understanding. So if you don't have it, it's because you rejected it. It's because you're refusing it, because you're not seeking him. I'm going to say it again. If you are confused, if you don't know, it's because you are rejecting him or you are not seeking him. It says, themselves are separated with whores, and thy sacrifice with harlots. Therefore, the people that do it, not understand, shall fall. Though thou, Israel, play the harlot, yet let not Judah offend. So it's saying, Yasharah, the 10 commandments, the 10 tribes up here, you know how you acting. Don't be mad when Judah says it, because Judah has the scepter. Judah has to point it out. The Most High says, just like you're hardwired to know right from wrong, my Judah is my inheritance. They are hardwired to speak the truth. So don't get offended when you hear it, because it's my words. If you got a problem, come to me. Whew. Yeah. Though thou, Yasharah, play the harlot, yet let not Judah offend. And come not ye unto Gilgal, neither go ye up to Bethaven, nor swear, the Most High liveth. It says, don't go to Judah. Don't go and tell everybody that you love me now. You ain't acting right. It says, for Yasharah slided back as a backsliding heifer. The Most High is getting wild in this verse, huh, Queen? Look, Most High calling us heifers. Say, y'all some backsliding heifers. I'm like, come on, Most High, man. You come on. I know I'm out here, but man, I'm a heifer. Yeah, us, we, heifers. You know what I'm saying? He says, for Yasharah slided back as a backsliding heifer. No, it says, now the Most High will feed them as a lamb in a large place. That's why the Most High got grace and mercy for us. If we just seek him, that's why people gonna fall. The Most High keeps saying, man, if you just seek me, I got you. But if you don't seek me, I can't help you. And don't come crying to me on the day about you love me. Don't come crying to me about you to save people. Don't come crying to me about you to spread my name and my word. Say, nah, man, I could care less about you spreading it. I asked you to be with me. I asked you to walk with me, man. I ain't asked you to go walk down a block and tell somebody about me. I asked you to walk with me. Don't go into these other nations and walk with them and think that you're doing for me. I asked you specifically to walk with me. Let's walk with the Father this Shabbat, y'all. Let's be in his mind. Let's be in the spirit of the Father on this Shabbat. Because our genome, our genetics, in the next couple of generations, they may not know how. If the Most High lets this thing continue to go in this direction, the next 3 generations, they won't even know how to pray to the Most High. And I'm going to prove that tonight. It's 11:20, what? It's 12:21. I'm about to get y'all out of here. I thought it was still 11 something, y'all. My bad. I know I got y'all. No wonder I ain't got but 2 people in here. But guess what? When y'all see on a rebroadcast, you're going to appreciate this shit. It says, now the Most High will feed them as a lamb in a large place. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. Most High told Judah, look, northern tribes are going to believe in totem poles. They're going to believe in all kinds of things. Leave them alone. You just need to follow me and do what I'm telling you to do. Their drink is sour. They have committed whoredom continually. Her rulers with shame do love. Give ye. Ooh. It says they do love. Shamefully they love their flesh. The wind has bound her up in her wings, and they shall be ashamed because of their sacrifices. When the Most High cracks the sky, everybody gonna know. So here's, I told you we're gonna do short, so I'm gonna keep my word. I was gonna go to chapter 5, but we're not. We're gonna leave it at that because I want y'all to see this. When I started talking to you guys about genomes, how important it is, what we're hardwired to do. And then I told you there's a people that don't care about their own well-being that'll die. We have Stockholm Syndrome. We know about it, but there's a new one coming in. So here it goes, y'all. Read them.
Tonight, I want to bring your attention to a new threat from China. China wants to create superhumans, people with extraordinary capabilities. The project is already on, and China is using the gene data of unborn children across the world to make this happen. I know it sounds like the plot of a movie, but this is happening for real. It is not science fiction. It is, in fact, a national security threat to 52 countries who have already been compromised. Let me tell you how this works. A Chinese company is working in collaboration with the People's Liberation Army. That's the Chinese army. What do? They make prenatal test kits. These are kits used by pregnant women. Then the company, aided by the Chinese military, collects the data of these women. What for? To understand what kind of genes are being passed on to the child. It's called gene data harvesting. In other words, China is harvesting information about the health of babies. How many are we talking about here? More than 8 million women
8 million.
Could be affected. 8 million. Not just in China, but across the world. 52 countries to be precise. Pregnant women in 52 countries across the world have potentially fallen victim to this Chinese operation. So what will China do with all this information? Their gene data. Use it to infuse superhuman capabilities into the Chinese military. You could say they want genetically modified soldiers.
Yep.
It's as scary as it sounds. The last time they tried to modify a virus, the world got a pandemic. Imagine them trying to modify humans, create superhuman variants. It's insane. It's also a threat that must be spelt out. So here's what we know. Our story begins with China's BGI group. BGI stands for the Beijing Genomics Institute. It's a Chinese genome sequencing company. A genome is basically a person's genes. And this company, BGI, is in the business of studying genes. The BGI group, along with the Chinese military, developed a prenatal test. Pregnant women are given these tests for information about the health of the mother and the baby. It's a fairly common practice. It helps in detecting abnormalities in a fetus, like the Down syndrome, for example. Now, this particular test, developed by China's BGI group and its military, is called NIFTY. It was launched in 2013. Today, NIFTY is one of the top-selling prenatal tests in the world, and this is where the problem begins. When a woman takes the NIFTY prenatal test, her gene data goes to the BGI group. They actively collect it. Later, this very same data is shared with the Chinese government, more specifically with some institutes run by the government of China. Like I said, more than 8 million women have taken this test worldwide. The BGI group is said to have sent leftover blood samples to its lab in Hong Kong, and the genetic data from clients is then being used for population research. The data is being stored at the China National Gene Bank in Shenzhen. This gene bank is funded by the government of China. It is run by the BGI group. This test is sold in 52 countries. India is one of them. It's not yet clear if data from India has made its way back to China.
Of course it has.
But this is what Reuters found. Genetic data of more than 500 women from Europe and Asia ended up at the Chinese gene bank. We cannot confirm if there's more, but whatever the number, is this even legal? Apparently it is. Reports say the company, the BGI group, got all the women to sign consent forms before they took the test. It's a fact that most people do not read the fine print, and it's also unfortunate because according to the test's privacy policy, the company can share all the data they collect with the Chinese government. Here's what it says. The BGI group can share data if it is, quote-unquote, directly relevant to the national security or national defense security in China. How is the gene data of unborn babies in other countries relevant to the national defense security of China?
How?
It defies logic. But this is the pretext that the company uses. Chinese national security. And this is how the Chinese state gets access to genetic data of babies across the world. Mothers who have taken the test are now concerned. One of them is Emilia, a 32-year-old citizen of Poland who took the BGI prenatal test. Emilia says she had read through the company's forms before agreeing to the terms, but she had no knowledge that the Chinese state has the power to access her child's data.
I have to admit that the news that my data could have been taken over by the Chinese government is shocking for me. After reading the form, I had the impression that I was well informed about the test and how the data would be used. I would like to know if they are aware that these samples are probably being sent further on and why they aren't telling their patients about this. This could be a very important matter when choosing a test. For me, it would be.
Clearly, this test needs to come with a bigger, more specific warning label. And if you're scared about the prospect of the Chinese state gathering data about unborn children, wait till you hear what China wants to do with this data.
Yes.
Having a massive bank of gene data gives China a clear strategic edge. It can help Beijing in a variety of ways. With this data, they can develop better pharmaceuticals. But that's not the end game. They're looking to create better soldiers, genetically enhanced soldiers, or human variants. Super soldiers are no longer just the stuff of science fiction. With rapid progress being made in gene editing, superhumans could soon become a reality. Gene editing.
So we're going to stop it there. As we said tonight, the genetic code inside of us was given to us by our Creator. As we went through the breeding video, we understand that how it can be changed. We understand from the history of slavery, and not just the transatlantic slavery, but all slavery is through the known history, that they have been breeding and playing with our genes for hundreds, centuries of years. This information, like I said, was a deep earthquake. It was for you to understand it at your core. When you're looking at who you are and why you act the way you act and why you talk the way you talk, understanding how you've been manipulated, how you may have some hardwired genes in you that's not healthy for you. Regardless if they came from family or not, these are not traits or ways that we should have. That we should change our own DNA, connect back with our true genetic code, and seek the Most High's face. I pray on this Shabbat, you meditate upon that. Meditate upon His genetic code, the 10 Commandments, His order of this world, His salvation, His righteousness, His retribution. With that said, man, I'm going to let you go tonight. We will see you guys on Monday. Thank y'all for tuning back in and being patient after we've been on our hiatus. All praises to the Most High. See y'all on Monday. Me shalom, me shalom.